I'm the Ghost Tourist, and I'm here to seek out strange, true, and chilling paranormal tales from all around the world. Do you prefer your vacations with a side of haunting, a little ghost with your toast? Well, then you came to the right place, because I am the Ghost Tourist, and this is Greenwich Village, New York City. In this video, I'll reveal 5 of Greenwich Village's most haunted hotspots.
Where in the world are you hiding, my dear, my dear? I caught a glimpse of something very weird. A ghost I fear is near me, dear. A ghost has slipped into my world, my world.
Welcome to Washington Square Park. I'm standing here beneath the famed arch designed by hotshot Gilded Age architect Stanford White and erected in the 1890s to commemorate the centennial of George Washington's inauguration. Crazy fact, only a few years after the arch was completed, Stanford White was famously murdered at Madison Square Garden, which he also built. To give you a sense of geography here, we're looking north up 5th Avenue toward the Empire State Building. On any given day, you're going to see droves of NYU students, about 70 other people like me filming, families, visitors, locals, pets, musicians, demonstrators, poets, performers, bubble artists. It's really just the center of the world here in New York City, and it's not to be missed. Okay, I promised I'm getting to the spooky stuff. This park is the first haunted location on our list. For nearly 2 centuries, the park has been a magnet for both locals and visitors alike. But not only the living linger here. This is one of the oldest trees in New York City, dating back to 1648. When this tree first sprouted, it would have grown along the bank of the Minetta Brook. But things took a darker turn in the 1700s when this farmland was acquired by the growing city and converted into a potter's field, a place to bury the poor and plague-ridden. I bet not many visitors realize that nearly 20,000 bodies lay to rest right beneath their feet. In fact, the city forgot about them for quite some time, until 1965, when some Con Edison maintenance workers dug up about 20 bodies underneath the fountain during repairs. And as if disturbing a massed grave isn't enough, the park was also once used as a public execution grounds. Remember that old tree I mentioned? Its nickname is the Hangman's Elm. Well, there's rumors of hundreds of public executions there. There's only one on record, and that was the last one in 1820, when a domestic slave named Rose Butler was tried and convicted of arson for attempting to burn down her master's house with the entire family inside. Slavery was abolished in New York City in 1827, and in modern times, many theorize that the fire was accidental and Rose was wrongfully accused. Regardless, her restless spirit is still said to wander about the park. After the 1820s, this neighborhood rose in prominence, and a number of beautiful federal-style homes can still be seen along the park from this era. NYU moved its campus here in 1833, and with it came the beginning of Greenwich Village's Bohemian reputation, attracting all kinds of open-minded radicals, artists, and oddballs. Nowadays, about 70% of the buildings surrounding the park are part of the NYU campus. A word of warning, if you plan to attend NYU, you may live in or study in some super haunted buildings. So we're heading northwest along the park toward Waverly Place and the Washington Square Hotel, our home base for the evening. There's no paranormal activity on record here, but man, this hotel is haunted by a fascinating history. And here we have a friend.
Hey.
Hey, Liz.
I'm excited, ready to hunt some ghosts. I love Washington Square Park. It has such a special place in my heart. When I was an art student at Parsons, I used to go there all the time to sketch, paint, whatever. I loved the energy there. There are so many characters, other artists, musicians. I fed off of that.
We're checking in for the night. This hotel, originally named the Earl, was built in 1902. It sat here for over a century, smack in the artistic center of New York, from the Jazz Age to the Beatnik generation to now. It's also one of the few family-owned, independently operated hotels in the entire city. And you can tell this place has been loved and thoughtfully cared for. All these beautiful tiles were handmade by the current owner, Rita Paul. Given this hotel's proximity to the park, its guest book is a who's who of 20th century American icons. People like Chuck Berry, Ernest Hemingway, Dylan Thomas, Bob Dylan, Barbra Streisand, Joan Baez, and the Rolling Stones have all stayed here at the Washington Square Hotel.
Nora Jones was a waitress downstairs, and somebody didn't show up, and she said, I can sing, and the rest is history for her.
Ah.
There's a couple of bank robbers who came in, and stuff like that. A couple of people committed suicide, certain rooms.
Have you ever seen a ghost at the hotel?
Well, I admit, not a ghost, but, you feel something creepy. I don't usually work nights, so I have to work overnight. But you feel somebody's present.
Up we go. We're on the 4th floor. Oh man, the decor is like The Shining, like mad Overlook Hotel vibes in here. In the 1960s, Bob Dylan and Joan Baez lived in room 305 for only $19 a week. I wish. Joan actually reminisces about the time they spent here and the song Diamonds and Rust.
So I went to school at Parsons, and I lived in the East Village, starting from when I was 18 years old.
Oh, watch out behind you.
This is where I die and become a ghost myself.
The village's tree-lined streets are filled with popular cafes, clubs, shops, bars, and restaurants. And make sure you wander down Bleecker Street, one of the city's most historical and famous nightlife destinations. We'll begin our evening with spirits of a different sort. Once the Gaslight Cafe, this cocktail bar stands in the birthplace of the Beatnik generation. Sometimes, a ghost can be a memory. You look around this place and you imagine what once was. This was the famous village haunt for performers like Ginsberg and Kerouac, who often recited to a packed house. It was also a music venue for some of the most storied folk singers like Bob Dylan, who would walk right over from the Washington Square Hotel. I'm not sure Bob Dylan would like it here anymore, but I do. So before we face the frights of the night, we'll fuel ourselves with a slice of New York City history. We're here at John's of Bleecker Street, established in 1929.
Oh my God. Is this delicious?
Here's where things get spooky. We're back at the Arch, meeting up to go on a walking tour with New York ghosts. I always recommend finding a local ghost tour because it's such a fun way to dig into the history of a neighborhood. We followed our guide Trevor around Greenwich for about 2 hours. Pro tip, wear comfy shoes. This library was once a courthouse. It was here they held Stanford White's murder trial. The place is also reported to be haunted by the spirit of an unknown woman who is seen sometimes smiling in the upper tower. And the infamous Mayor Jimmy Walker still parties it up at his old speakeasy on Gay Street. But this house on West 10th Street has so many horrific stories attached to it that I suggest you take the tour. But briefly, this place has been witness to some gruesome tragedies, including child murder, and is rumored to host as many as 22 ghosts. Mark Twain lived here in 1900, and even he, despite being a major skeptic, encountered so many strange supernatural occurrences that he moved out within a year. Though some claim Mark Twain is one of the 22 ghosts. Go figure. Yes. What'd you get?
Cappuccino.
I'm curious how good it is.
Hot. very hot cappuccino.
But does it taste like the original cappuccino?
I don't know.
It's too
No
hot.
longer taste.
And of course, Greenwich is also known for its fabulous tapestry of queer history. Christopher Street is widely seen as the birthplace of the American gay liberation movement, and today is still a welcoming place to meet, drink, and dance. Oh, and sing. This is Marie's Crisis Cafe, a popular piano sing-along bar built over the site of Thomas Paine's old house. Perhaps his ghost will be here humming along with us. One caveat, they don't allow video inside, but they do allow So we're here sitting under the hanging elm in Washington Square Park. We have our trusty bell here for spirit communications. If there are any lingering spirits here in the park, would you ring the bell? The most frequently reported ghost sighting is of Rose Butler. Whether or not she was wrongfully accused, she is obviously quite upset over the manner of her death, and that strong emotion has triggered a haunting. Her spirit lingers in the park to this day, and on windy nights, you may just catch a glimpse of a figure swinging from a branch. But if you move closer to examine, it'll disappear.
That is wild. Yeah. It's so crazy though. In Washington Square Park, I feel like a ghost could literally walk up to my face and I would not even register it.
Yeah, because like a person in a Victorian dress is like, could be an NYU student like going to a play. Like, it's really hard to distinguish the NYU students from the spirits that haunt the park. Over the years, some lucky enough to have windows overlooking the park, or perhaps not so lucky, have sighted a strange spectral fog, which they describe to be a green shroud of death that creeps across the square in the wee hours. Seeing if we can detect any ghost presence. When ghost hunting, I like to use a compass. It's basically an old school EMF meter. If I see the needle start to spin, I could be picking up on some unseen energy. It's starting to spin right here. That's weird. Not much. Yeah, every time I pass this spot, it moves a little bit. Like more than normal with me just holding it, but it's weird. No, it's not really doing it. I don't think it was me, though. By a window, like this. Truth be told, there's no established haunting here, but it could just be that they've never really publicized it. Some hotels don't like to lean into the haunted label.
Oh, they don't?
I guess maybe it could be good or bad for business depending on what kind of haunting it is. But we're literally steps away from the Washington Square Park, so we're just surrounded by layers of history and paranormal activity and ghost stories. So there's, a very good chance that we might be able to pick up on something in the hotel here tonight. We have our ghost trap set, we've got the talcum powder sprinkled around, we have our bell, we have our compass, and we're just gonna see if we can witness any kind of activity here at the hotel, and maybe we'll be the ones to break the story for you. So
Yes, let us be the ones.
so wish us luck, and we're
So much luck.
turn off the lights. Good luck. What do you mean, good luck? You have to protect me. Cheers. Coffee. And a board there. All right, so good morning. We got our coffee, we got our pastry, and we're here in Fiorello LaGuardia Park. Liz, what did you order?
The lemon almond croissant.
That looks awesome.
I'm really excited to try it.
Should we try them?
Yeah, let's try it. That is delightful.
I woke up a couple times the night, but I'm just kind of like that when I'm staying in new places. I didn't see anything. At one point I thought I heard something fall, but then I didn't find anything on the ground. But the bell never rang. I didn't see any figures in the night.
Thank goodness.
I heard our neighbor snoring.
How do you know it was our neighbor?
It's true, it could be a snoring ghost. There's no way of knowing.
How would you know?
Okay, this spot is arguably on the borderline of Greenwich Village, but I saved the best for last. So a lot of places in New York City claim to be the most haunted, but this one shows up on the top of most people's lists. This is the Merchant House Museum. Built in 1832, when we step inside, you'll find the place hasn't changed much over the years. The home once belonged to the Treadwell family, and these are, in fact, all of their belongings. The family had 7 children, and the home eventually passed to the youngest daughter, Gertrude, who outlived all her siblings by decades. Legend goes, she was once forbidden from marrying a man she loved, and instead continued into spinsterhood. She never changed or modernized a thing, despite living here from 1840 to 1933. Gertrude nearly drove herself to financial ruin to upkeep the home as Papa wanted it. So of course, it's no surprise she is quite attached to the place and does not like it when you touch her things. Want to learn more about the fascinating haunted history of the Merchant House? It's going to have its own full episode coming up. Now we've returned to the hub of our wheel. And we end where we began, back in Washington Square, a place that doesn't offer escape from the city, rather a way to enter into it, a virtual palimpsest of the history of New York City. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.